The first thing Lena noticed was the laughter. Not the good kind, the sharp kind that cuts through a room and makes people suddenly mind their business. She was behind the hostess stand, tray resting on one hip, when she heard her name said in that familiar way, the way her family used it when they wanted attention. "There she is," her mother said, loud enough for half the restaurant to hear, still wearing an apron. 6 tables went quiet. Lena didn't turn right away. She didn't need to. Her mother always made an entrance like this, loud, confident, acting like she owned the place. Her sister Claire trailed behind her, phone already out, eyes lit up like she'd been waiting for this moment. Lena turned slowly. Her mother looked her over, head to toe. The black uniform, the practical shoes, the name stitched neatly across her chest. "Oh, Hummy," she said, smiling. "I didn't realize this was still your life." Claire laughed, easy and careless. Someone nearby cleared their throat. Lena felt that familiar tightness settle in her chest. 4 years of it. 4 years of telling herself it didn't get to her. "This is my section," Lena said evenly. "Would you like a table?" Her mother tilted her head. "We're here for brunch, Mother's Day. I just thought you'd be further along by now." The words hit exactly where they were supposed to. Lena nodded once and motioned toward an empty booth. "Right this way." As they sat, Claire tipped her phone just enough for the screen to glow. Recording, of course. "You know," her mother went on, not bothering to lower her voice, "you weren't here." Lena set the menus down carefully. Her hands were steady. She'd learned that part the hard way. "I didn't drop out. You stopped paying." Her mother waved it off. "Same thing." That's when something shifted. Not anger, not hurt, clarity. Lena looked at the table, at her mother's perfect nails, at her sister's phone, at the strangers pretending they weren't listening. This wasn't an accident. They hadn't come to eat. They'd come to remind her who they thought she was. Lena straightened. "Before we order," she said, calm and steady, "there's something you should know." Her mother raised an eyebrow. "Oh yeah." Lena smiled, small, controlled. "Today's my last day here." The room felt like it leaned in. Her mother blinked. Once. Claire stopped smiling. Lena let the silence sit. Years on the floor had taught her how useful quiet could be when people expected her to shrink. "Last day," her mother said. "Doing what, exactly?" Lena didn't answer right away. She stepped back, gave them the same polite, practiced smile she gave every table, and said, "I'll be back to take your order." Then she turned before either of them could say anything else. Behind the counter, her manager David was watching. He'd heard enough to know what was going on. He didn't ask questions, he just gave her a small nod, the kind that meant trust. "You okay?" he asked under his breath. "I'm fine," Lena said, and for the first time she meant it. In her locker, tucked inside her bag, was the folder she'd brought without fully admitting why. She opened it, movements steady. Inside were printed papers, an offer letter, a start date, a salary that still felt unreal when she looked at it. She didn't need to pull it out yet, not until it mattered. Back on the floor, she took care of other tables first. Coffee refills, orders, plates out. Business as usual, on purpose. She could feel her mother's eyes on her, waiting for her to slip, waiting for proof she hadn't changed. Claire leaned in and whispered something, phone tipped toward the table. Lena caught her name glowing on the screen, comments already stacking up. Let them. When Lena came back, her mother snapped her menu shut. "So," she said, "where exactly are you headed after today?" Lena met her eyes. Calm. Steady. "I accepted a position with Halden and Moore." The name landed heavier than she expected. A man at the next table looked up, fork frozen halfway to his mouth. Her mother frowned. "I've never heard of it." "You wouldn't. They don't recruit off social media." Claire stiffened. "Junior analyst," Lena added, voice even. "I start Monday." Her mother laughed, quick and dismissively. "That's cute." But it didn't catch. The man at the next table leaned in slightly. "Halden and Moore?" he asked. "Downtown?" "Yes, sir." He smiled. "Congrats, they don't make offers lightly." Claire's phone dipped. Her mother's smile slipped, just for a second. Lena noticed it and felt something settle into place. Not pride, not revenge, control. She set her notepad on the table. Ready to order? They weren't looking past her anymore. They were looking at her like they might have been wrong. Her mother cleared her throat. "Let's not do this here," she said, dropping her voice a second too late. "People are staring." "They were staring before," Lena said. "You didn't seem to care then." Claire flipped her phone face down on the table. It was the first intentional move she'd made since the firm's name came up. "You're blowing this up," she said. "You always do. You take something small and turn it into a whole scene." Lena wrote their order down without reacting. 2 coffees, 1 omelet, 1 fruit plate. She repeated it back, calm and professional, then paused. "There's one more thing you should know," she said. "Any party over $200 gets an automatic service charge." Her mother waved it off. "That's fine." "It's not optional," Lena added, gently. David showed up at her side like clockwork. He didn't look at her mother, he looked at Lena. "Everything okay?" "Yes," Lena said, "just going over policy." David nodded once. "Good." Then he turned to the table, calm and clear. "We apply it across the board." He walked away. Her mother stared after him. "Is he taking your side now?" "He's doing his job. So am I." The food came out fast. Lena set each plate down carefully, straightened the silverware, topped off their water. She didn't rush, she didn't hover, every move was deliberate. Around them, the room eased back into conversation, but the attention hadn't fully left. It never really does once people sense something's off. Halfway through the meal, her mother pushed her plate away. "You really think this changes anything?" Lena met her eyes. "No." "Good," her mother said, "because it doesn't." Lena nodded. "You're right." That response bothered her more than arguing ever would have. When the check came, Lena set it down smoothly. The total was just over $300. Her mother opened the folder, closed it, opened it again. "This can't be right." "It is," Lena said. "You ordered a lot." Her grabbed her card and slid it across the table. "Run it." Lena took it, walked to the terminal, and swiped. The screen flashed. Declined. She tried again. Same thing. When she came back, she didn't announce it. She just set the card on the table. "I'm sorry, it didn't go through." Claire went pale. "What?" "That's not possible," her mother said, laughing too fast. David was already there. "There's an issue with the card," he said evenly. "We can take another form of payment." Her mother dug through her purse, pulling out another card, then another. Each one declined. The room went quiet again. Not tense, just watching. David folded his hands. "At this point, we'll need to settle the bill in cash." Her mother looked at him, then at Lena. "You planned this," she said. She shook her head once. "I didn't have to." The silence stretched, long, unavoidable. Finally, her mother grabbed her things, face flushed, movements sharp. She stood without meeting Lena's eyes. "This isn't over," she said. Lena looked at her calmly. "It is, for me." They left without finishing their coffee. Lena watched the door swing shut and felt something ease in her chest. Not victory. Relief. The shift didn't pause when they walked out. Orders kept coming, plates kept moving. The kitchen hummed like nothing out of the ordinary had happened. But something was different. As Lena passed table 6, the man caught her eye and gave her a small nod. Respect, not pity. The woman by the window smiled and quietly mouthed, "Good for you." No clapping, no scene, just quiet acknowledgement. That meant more than noise ever could. David pulled her aside near the service station. "You handled that really clean," he said. "I've seen people fall apart over way less." Lena shrugged. "Guess I've had some practice." He hesitated. "If you want, I can comp." "No," Lena said softly. "I'm done being paid back for their behavior." David looked at her for a second, then nodded. "Fair enough." By the end of the shift, her tip envelope was heavier than usual. Not over the top, intentional. People tipping because they wanted to, not because they felt bad. When she clocked out, Lena didn't head straight home. She sat in her car for a minute, hands on the steering wheel, letting the quiet settle in. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister. "You didn't have to do that." Lena stared at it, then typed back, "I didn't do anything. I just stopped pretending." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Nothing else came. The next morning, Lena put on a blazer instead of an apron. The office lobby smelled like polished wood and fresh coffee. Glass walls, calm confidence. Her name waited on a temporary badge. Lena Carter. No explanations needed. Her supervisor shook her hand. "We're really glad you're here." And for the first time, Lena believed it without second-guessing herself. Later that week, the calls started. An aunt she hadn't heard from in years, a cousin suddenly interested in her life. Even her mother left a voicemail. Short, careful, measured. Lena didn't call back. Not out of anger, out of clarity. She wasn't cutting anyone off, she was just no longer available for the version of herself they were comfortable with. That weekend, Lena stopped by the restaurant one last time. Not to work, just to eat. David waved from the host stand. "Window seat?" "Please." As she sat there, sunlight warming the table, Lena realized something simple and final. They could tell whatever story they wanted about her now. She didn't live in it anymore. A month later, Lena drove past the restaurant without turning in. She didn't feel the pull anymore. Work filled her days now. Meetings that actually mattered, decisions that carried weight, co-workers who listened when she spoke and didn't need convincing that she belonged in the room. One afternoon, a plain envelope showed up in the mail, her mother's handwriting. Inside was a short note. No excuses, no explanations, just one sentence, written carefully, like every word had been weighed before the pen hit the page. "I see you now." Lena read it once, then folded it and slipped it into a drawer. Not as a trophy, not as closure, just something that existed. She didn't write back. She didn't need to. Some understanding comes too late to fix the past, but just early enough to stop chasing you into the future. That evening, Lena stood in her apartment kitchen, city lights glowing through the window. A quiet place, a life built slowly, on purpose, without asking permission. She thought about the girl who learned early how to sit with silence, and the woman who learned later how to choose it. Walking away hadn't been dramatic. Standing her ground hadn't been loud. It had simply been final. And she realized that was the most powerful kind of ending there is.